This is the Aftermarket Radio Network. Hey everybody, Carm Capriato, Remarkable Results Radio. Good to have you here, the pioneer of automotive repair business podcasts. Wow, we're almost getting ready to celebrate our 10th year anniversary doing this with thousands of episodes and a growing aftermarket radio network. Wait till you all see what's coming up. I've been out doing speeches and going to conferences. I love to be out with you, but I couldn't do this if it wasn't for all of you who love to either watch or listen to what we're doing. Hey, I want to introduce my friend Bob Ward from Warden LLC. Hello, Bob.
Hello, Carm. Good to be back with you.
Bob's on the show for a serious particular reason, and that is succession today is probably bigger than Doge. That's going to really grab the audience. But before we get started, here's a great word from our great sponsors. Hey, Carm here, and I hope to see you at the 22nd Annual TST Big Event, Saturday, March 29th, 2025. This very comprehensive one-day seminar will feature trainers Bill Weaver from NAPA Autotech Training, Josh Weaver from Dorman Training, and Eric Ziegler from WTI. This all-day event will be at the Westchester Marriott in Tarryton, New York. Sign up at tstseminars.org. I'll be there, and I'm going to present the keynote, The Rise of the Mechanical and Technology Specialist. Great education, breakfast and lunch, and a ton of learning. tstseminars.org, Saturday, March 29th, 2025. NAPA is focused on the now, a national ownership workshop for our valued auto care members centered around business building training from industry leaders. This is a can't-miss event as we celebrate the past 100 years while looking ahead to the next 100. Hey, let's face it, your shop management system is the most critical tool in your shop, and NAPA Tracks will move your shop into the SMS fast lane with on-site training, 6 days a week support, and local representation. Find NAPA Tracks on the web at napatracs.com. Also, thanks to AftermarketManagementNetwork.com for information that can help you move your business ahead, and for the free and informative LaborRateTracker.com. First of all, Bob's been on the show 6 or more times. This is going to be your 7th or 8th. I'm not even quite sure. Thank God we met each other years ago. Bob's all about building perpetual businesses, and he's got a lot of great things to say. Go to my website, remarkableresults.biz, type in Bob Ward, look at all of his great stuff. You'll be inspired. His background, franchise car dealerships, controller, general manager, minority owner. And then he gets out there and he says, listen, you've got to believe in having a perpetual business, and I'm going to help you. And when you do the research, a significant portion of the shop owners in our industry today are nearing retirement age. Nearly being maybe half of the ones that are out there are 60 years old, and they're saying, what's next? Can't wait to get $1 million for my business, and they don't run a great business, and they haven't planned for it. And I love to talk about this. I love to bring on guys with Bob's background in having done all kinds of, you're a deal maker. So he's got a class coming up in April. This is not about selling Bob's class at all. It's April 10th through 12th. And it's ironic. I asked Bob, hey, could you come on? He says, listen, I'm bringing my class back since COVID, and I want to help people who want to succeed their business. And the individual, I love this part, the individual, you got the owner and the successor in the class. It's powerful. Anyway, I'm going to shut up and listen. Every business has to be sold, right?
Thank you, Carm. Every business is going to be sold. There's no two ways about it. It's the cliche of death and taxes. We know it's going to happen. It's either going to be a planned, comfortable, valuable transition to a new owner, or in the absence of a plan, unfortunately, it's just going to be liquidation, and nobody wants that. That is just a mess, and everybody loses. So when it's done well, when it's planned, the current owner realizes the value that they created, their 20, 30, 40 years of life's work. They not only get paid for that, but they realize the comfort and the pride of knowing their business continues beyond them. And then their successor has that opportunity to own a business, which they otherwise likely would never have that opportunity. It was hard enough starting an auto repair shop 40 years ago. Try doing it now in this environment, this financial, economic, political environment. It's nearly impossible to do it like the current owners did years ago. So besides the owner getting value, the successor getting that wonderful opportunity in creating more value and comfort in their career for their future, the employees get to keep their job. The customers keep the same service provider. And the community still has a valued tax-paying business in the community. There's every reason to do this. And unfortunately, like so many things in life, whether it's saving for our kids' education when they're young, or it's putting money away for retirement, similarly, it's easy to put it off, procrastinate a little bit, and the little bit becomes 5 years and it becomes 10 years. And as you said, here we are, we're age 60. Now what do we do?
I totally get it. You're ignoring key critical components of strategic decisions in the business. If you're listening to this and you're listening with a spouse, and if you're listening alone, please get your spouse, because I think the messages in this episode and the messages that Bob has had for us over all the years is one of my great little phrases that I learned from a mentor years ago. Pay attention. And there's so many things you need to pay attention to in life. You just listed them all. Question: how much is family involved in the deals that you help put together?
Unfortunately, it's very rare that a family member becomes the successor. Our family members, whether it's mine, yours, the listeners, it's maybe only 1 in 10 children want to be the successor. They want to own the family business. The ones that do, it's awesome because they have that passion that their parents had. But it's a unique industry like all. I mean, it's not just the auto industry. Any children that grow up in a family-operated business have the entire universe of choices of what they want to do. And very few follow their parents in any industry. So if you're listening, it's not just your industry. It's just the nature of children and the options that they have. What does happen virtually all the time, I'm going to say 95% of the time, is it's either a family member or it is a key employee that's already in the business. And the family member would likely already be in the business also. So you could just say 95% of the time, it's somebody that already works there. And the reason that works so well is the person who's already in the business understands how it's operated. They know the owner's values, philosophies, procedures. They know the employees. They know the customers. They know the vendors. They've already developed into the business. They just need the last few components of realizing 100% responsibility and the weight of ownership, that authority, responsibility, the risk rewards. It's that last component from going to an employee to becoming the owner.
So, Bob, you're just not I don't mean to say this in a disrespectful or off the cuff way, but a deal maker, okay? You're trying to take the wishes of the owner who sees potential inside and or a child who wants in, and you help them structure, you help the new people climb to greater levels of success. Do you teach leadership or do you get them connected to the people that are going to help them be better?
You had it right the first time. And I just suggest you change deal maker to facilitator or coach, consultant. So there's 2 parts to what I do. One is putting it all together, that virtually all the training has been done. It's now just how do we actually do it? And there's 4 steps to that, which are on my website, perpetualbusiness.co. The 4 steps are highlighted there, but briefly, the first is compatibility. Does the successor, whether it's a family member or key employee, does the successor understand where the owner is coming from? Do they understand the risks and rewards and the weight, that responsibility? Does the owner appreciate where the successor is coming from? There's limitations and resources there. How compatible? I often use a metaphor of getting married. You start dating, it becomes a little more serious. You go to coffee, then you go to dinner, then you start spending more time together, and you're trying to figure out, are we on a path to get married? So the first step in succession is, are we on a path to do the equivalent of marriage and enter into an agreement that is for sure? It's not a hope anymore. It's a dream. Are we compatible enough that we should take another step, which is the valuation? And then the next step is, how do we get it paid for? And the last step are all the legal details. The other component, which you mentioned, the class, it's a 3-day class, sort of immersion, a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And it not only goes through all of those that I just spoke of and real life examples and actual case studies, but it helps take the successor and owner from where they are today through the process, so that if it takes, 3 years, 5, 10 years to actually complete the process, the business is making more money along the way, and they're more in tune to absolute success.
Wow. If I was sitting on the sidelines saying, I've got a great candidate, he joined my business with the glimmer of hope that he could become maybe even a minority partner of mine, and the opportunity to, equity buy-in, if you will. And I just don't know how to do it. I don't know how to structure it, but I saved him. Oh, I offered him something, and it's like this whole retention thing. One of the things that I have to do to retain this one individual is to figure out how to offer up equity. But then one day that I've actually done that, how do I get out?
That's a great question, Carm. And the answer is actually quite simple. You don't offer them actual, factual equity. It's what I call equity equivalence. So it is as if they own equity. And this is a whole nother topic. We could spend a whole half an hour about how that works. But the essence, the concept is, when you have entered into this agreement, as the successor takes on more responsibility and authority, they are getting bonused the equivalent of equity as if they were a partner. Think of it as a form of profit sharing, but instead of any cash going or any shares going out, they're in essence earning a discount to the ultimate purchase price in the future. Again, the equivalent of equity. So if something goes sideways, there's no shares to get back. There's no lawyers that have to get involved. There's no money changing hands.
If it goes sideways, I, as the owner, haven't given up anything. The individual says,
it's not for me.
Well, it's not for me. The further I've gotten into making tough decisions, the more I realize it's not me. Wife got a job in a different city. We're going to move. You don't have to worry about trying to get them shares back. I mean, obviously, there's got to be an agreements made to make this stuff fluid. But I love the idea where you're not giving up anything, but you're giving up a discount on the final. Help me understand 49%, 51%, and how all this stuff works.
I'll condense it. And all of this, of course, would be in the class, or if you hire me in the 4-step process. The concept is, let's just say, Carm, you're my successor and I'm the owner, and we go into this agreement, and based on the performance of the company, you earn a 5% equivalent stake. So let's say the business was valued at $500,000 for the ease of math. And at the end of year 1, you're bonus $25,000 in equivalent equity. What that really means is, instead of the price being $500,000 next year, it's $475,000. So the owner gets everything the owner has always been getting. Nothing changes. There's no shares changing and no cash. But because you advanced your skills and took some responsibility away from me by the performance of the company, and this is by formula in step 3, how do we pay for all this? You earned, as an example, $25,000. And if you were then buy the business from me next year, it's $475 instead of $500. So if you walk away, I don't have to give you any money. You don't give me any money. There's no shares to get back. But we keep doing that. And the typical is 5 years. And that equity equivalence is earned based on the performance of the company via a formula we decide in advance. So maybe 5 years from now, when the owner's retired and spending time in Hawaii while the business is in Denver, but you're running the business, you're making me money. I'm still 100% owner, but 5 years from now, it's a $250,000 purchase.
Okay. I'm going to ask you some questions that are probably covered in the class, but you know me, Bob. I'm a curious guy, very curious. But I'm also curious for my listener. I always, think, my listeners, listen, Carm, ask them this question, and a lot. They come up to me at conferences and say, "You always seem to anticipate what else I want to know." If you've given me the right bonus to earn in, even though I don't get shares, but I'm getting a discounted rate of the value of the business that we decided on in this particular year, in 5 years, it could be worth a lot more money.
That's wonderful, isn't it? It means if it's worth more, the price does not change, because I'm not going to work super hard for you and have the price move away further and further and further. The benefit to the owner is they're making more money every single year, where if it was valued 5 years from now, sure, it might be worth more. It also might be worth less.
All right, I get it. You're structuring, you're bringing on this individual to act as an owner and to make profits that will sustain the business and the transactions. So this person is going to have to work really, really hard while the owner still benefits in the rewards that this individual is making for them.
Yes, the incentives are totally aligned. The successor wants to build the business and make the owner more money so they can earn more of that equity along the way. So the owner is benefiting ideally more than they were before, but working less and less all the time. Does that make sense, Carm?
It does. Here we sit in your example of this $25,000 now that I get to buy the remaining, if you will, value based on everything that I have earned in so far. Can I go to the bank with now my real shares in the business that are going to be transacted and borrow that money?
Well, it's not shares. So let's say it's 5 years from now on that $500,000 business, and the successor has earned half of that value. So now the actual sale takes place. The owner sells the business 5 years from now for $250,000. The buyer still has to pay for that somehow. Can they go to the bank? Do they have the money in the bank? Can they get a $250,000 loan? Generally, it's still a struggle, but the owner is far more amenable to carrying a note for $250,000 after the successor has proven themselves for 5 years. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, I figured that out.
And that's the process. That's why there's 4 steps. The first is, do we even want to continue dating, Carm, and get into the relationship? And then you do the other steps.
I get it. I'm sorry to say it's too simple. I was trying to make it complicated.
Relatively simple process. However, the key is it is a process. The owner has never sold a business before. The buyer's never bought one. There's all these perspectives. The same questions you're asking me, they ask. And, again, the cliche of the elephant. It's an elephant of a process, but you just do it one piece at a time. It's methodical, comfortable, and nobody moves ahead until they are comfortable and confident they're on the right track. Again, similar to dating on the path towards marriage.
The NAPA Now event is a national ownership workshop for our valued AutoCare members centered around business building training from industry leaders. Now, it's not just about owning a shop, it's about owning your future. Join NAPA April 15th through the 17th, 2025 at the Venetian Resort in the heart of Las Vegas, known for its vibrancy, energy, and entrepreneurial spirit. At the event, ignite growth through business building masterclasses from leaders across multiple industries focused on expanding business opportunities. Now, masterclass topics include future-proofing your business, mastering emerging technologies for growth, leadership dynamics, inspiring, engaging, and driving success, shifting tides, understanding evolving consumer behaviors and your bottom line, and young leaders' lasting legacies, mastering succession planning for future growth. Foster collaboration with other like-minded NAPA AutoCare members and store owners. Stop at Supplier Studios for training, visit AutoCare vendor partners, and finally, join us in celebrating 100 years of NAPA Auto Parts, along with kicking off the next 100 years of partnership. There will also be exclusive giveaways. There are many incentive opportunities to offset the cost of this trip, including Auto Care Program earnbacks, and beginning in October, earn up to $1,500 with pre-show supplier training to prepare for the Supplier Studio training sessions. The NAPA Now event is a national ownership workshop for our valued Auto Care members centered around business building training from industry leaders. Now, it's not just about owning a shop, it's about owning your future. Join NAPA April 15th through the 17th, 2025 at the Venetian Resort in the heart of Las Vegas, known for its vibrancy, energy, and entrepreneurial spirit. Get ready to grow, connect, and celebrate. This is an exclusive event limited to the first 2,000 Auto Care members. Packages are going fast. If you're interested in attending, contact your servicing NAPA store or NAPA salesperson. Hey, let's face it. Your shop management system is the single most important tool in your shop, period. NAPA Trax has made selecting the right shop management system easy by offering the industry's best, most comprehensive SMS. Now, it all starts when a local representative meets with you to learn about your business and how you need to run it. After all, it's your shop, so it's your choice, and having local representation is a huge plus. Customizing Trax to your business, whether you're a one-person shop or a large multi-bay or multi-location company, a representative consults with you to help optimize your shop's workflow, efficiency, and profitability. Trax always has the flexibility to do business how you need to do it, which means it can also grow as your business grows. And unlike the other guys, we'll be there for you after installation with the best training and support in the business. Yes, a learning management system tailored to each role in your company. Simply put, Trax was designed and built for shop owners just like you. Visit us on the web at NAPATrax, that's NAPATRACS.com. Hey, ever wonder how your labor rate compares to your market and state? You now have a site where you can confidentially upload your rate and see other labor rates published in your market. LaborRateTracker.com is an important site to know about. Currently, the database has over 1,000 shops participating and growing every day. But there's more to setting your rates than finding out what others charge. You should look at the labor rates in your state and town to gain a complete picture of the labor rate landscape. Hey, it's easy. Get market intelligence like never before at LaborRateTracker.com. Take me into the class. You've got an owner with his successor there. What kind of questions are the successors asking you?
Well, blessedly, because of the way the class is organized, they don't have a lot of questions by the time they're done because they all get answered. However, what's on their mind, whether they go to the class or not, what's on their mind is, can I really do this? How would I possibly become an owner when I have a new mortgage, I've got young children at home, I really have no savings? How could I even consider talking to an owner about buying their business? But the same reverse process for the owner. I really love Carm in my business, but he's 35 or 40. I know he doesn't have any savings. He's awesome. I love him. I think he could run them, but how could I possibly sell it to him? That's where it starts.
Those would be missed opportunities if you found this, if you will, unicorn rock star individual who's really, you could tell someday that this person's going to be a business owner. And it could be 5, 8 years down the road. They've just so impressed me and they don't have any money. So I can't do a deal. And what Bob is saying, yes, you can.
Yes, you can. 95%, I'm going to say 98% of successors have virtually no money. When I say virtually no money, to be able to write even a $20,000 check without borrowing the money is a struggle, let alone try and get to $50,000 or $100,000. But the owners need to remember when they started in business, they likely didn't have any money either, Carm.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, God. Yeah. I mean, I've known a ton of them in my life, and I've seen them, if you will, recover, restructure, reinvent, any other R words that I may need to have. And they're a little too late in their life, in their kind of middle 60s, finally found the golden trough, if you will, of people, margins, cost control, and profits. It took them way too long. And We've done enough shows on the stubbornness of struggle and, the ego getting in the way of saying, I need some help. I want some support, which is why I'm so glad you're putting this class back together. If you brought in an owner and he didn't bring his successor, will you still take him in your class?
Absolutely. It's just they're further along if they've got somebody that wants to, they feel that they've got the drive and the owner has that sense that this is somebody that has that passion that I had. That's how I got into business myself. I knew at a very young age that I was going to be a business owner, whatever it took. That's the commitment. No matter what obstacles in my way, I'm going to get there. And the owners listening to your podcast, those are those people. They did not survive 20, 30, 40 years because they thought it was going to be easy and it was going to be given to them and they were entitled. They had commitment and perseverance. If they've got a person in their organization, one or more, so I have done equal partnerships as successors, one or more people that have that drive, perseverance, that commitment, no matter what happens, I'm going to find a way. Everything else can fall in place.
Okay, I pick up the phone. I go on your website. It says, Bob, I'm in. Got to do this thing. It's killing me that I haven't done anything. And Bob says, again, I don't know. I'm just putting words in my and your mouth. I'm trying to prove a point here. You find out after asking questions, they have poor books, no systems, terrible processes, but the man or lady wants to move on and find a successor and a way to sell their business. You got to start from scratch. Does it take a lot longer to get an individual up to speed so that there's profits so there can be a sale?
If they're already in the business, they have most of what is needed. I would say at least more than half. The fine-tuning points are how to understand the accounting, the financial side, the analytics. What is a balance sheet? What is a profit and loss statement? It's a tool, and how to use it? How do you understand it? What do you do with that tool? And most business owners, unfortunately, don't use the tools the way it's supposed to. They'd rather work on a car. But the tools are important. Standard operating procedures are important. Recruiting talent, retaining, rewarding. The class is called Ownership Essentials. It's everything that must be.
It's almost like a self-evaluation class.
That could be part of it. It is empowering. It takes things that are around business owners in any industry. It just happens to be auto's my background, so that's probably 80% of my work. It's around us constantly. But again, the aphorism of, are you working in the business or are you working on the business? And because business owners in all industries started with a skill and then decided to go into business with the skill, the journey towards being an effective, successful business person can be somewhat long. This class helps to shorten that down by immersion with workbooks, case studies, hands-on, sharing with other owners, and then there's follow-up consulting time, of course. And then ideally, they would hire me for the full 4-step process. And let's get an entire defined succession plan in place.
I love the word immersion. I really do. Every time I think of the word immersion, I think of the deep end of the pool.
Sure.
And I'm thinking that so many people will only learn how to swim if they dive into the deep end.
Well, as you can probably tell, I get kind of passionate about this, kind of excited, because the participants' eyes just sort of sparkle like the aha moment, the epiphany. And then because they're there together, they're hearing the same words, they're working from the same sheet music, they're doing the exercises together. It helps them bond. Again, back to sort of that marriage metaphor. This is a more serious form of dating. It's sort of like, okay, now we're going to move in together and we're getting closer and closer to swearing before God and witnesses and the justice of the peace or whomever. We're now committed to the process.
Got it. Perpetualbusiness.co. I remember, I'm just recalling some of the episodes that we've done together, and you, I think, told me, Carm, if it's not working and they want to get out, they can leave any time. Did you ever say that to me?
They want to be able to leave anytime. So when the plan is in place, when they've got the person and they've got the defined process, It's legal, it's binding, all 4 steps. The last one's all the legal details, hand it off to the lawyer, stamp of approval on it. This is all good to go. At that point, the owner has complete optionality. They can continue to work 60 hours a week if they want to. Ideally, they're not going to do that. They're going to take more time off, be absentee owners. The business is purring along. They know who's buying it. Everything's working. A business is perpetual at the point when the owner is no longer required to be there. So the owner could be 35. And if they got all of this that we're talking about done at the age of 35, they know exactly how it's going to go down and they choose. It rarely happens like that, though. You said it's more likely they're now 60 and we need to be doing it. Sometimes they call me when they're 70.
Let me clarify my question. You answered it great, but I was going after a different angle.
Okay.
And the angle is that I've hired you and we're kind of a year or two in. And I swear one time you said that, Carm, I don't wrap these people in a long-term contract. They can take me as far as they want to go. Is that still the case?
Oh, I understand. I got it now.
That's what I meant about saying they quit. They wanted to quit getting your expertise if they got to maybe a certain point, or the individual left and I'm done. I don't have a long-term commitment that I have to pay out.
Okay. So when they hire me, we go one step at a time. So if we do that compatibility assessment and they just realize, no, this is not the right person or the successor. No, I really don't want to go on. We're done. There's no other obligation. If we go on, then we do evaluation and I get paid at that point. If that works, then we go on and we do the next step. So it's one step at a time to get it done. But the ultimate goal is, in fact, to have a contract that this is how it's going to work. These are the terms. This is what the lease is going to look like, the property purchase options that are going to be in there, what happens if the successor quits or dies. Ultimately, there is a defined buy-sell agreement that is done. And the ultimate transition point from that signed agreement, it might be, say, another 5 years before the owner sells. The successor's on the ownership path with a formula. Everybody knows how it's going to go down. But during that time, after the contract is signed, if the successor leaves or dies, like you said, what happens if it goes sideways? There's the equivalent of a divorce. Well, you got a divorce. I mean, the owner doesn't have a buyer anymore, but there's no money to give back, no lawyers involved. It just didn't work. Now the owner's got to go find another buyer. That has only happened in the 10 years I've done this 3 times out of about 50, where the successor buyer was, this is more work than I thought it was going to be. I can't do it. I don't want to be the owner.
So to your point, you could get all excited about an individual because you love their smile and they show up for work every day. There's something about how nicely they dress. But it doesn't mean that they could lead and own the business, right? So it's almost like running this individual by a person like you who's been there, done it, seen all kinds of things. It's like, hey, Bob, this is Carm. I'm thinking of selling my business. I heard your episode with Carm. I'm interested in your class, blah, blah, blah. How can you help me assess this individual that I'd like to approach?
And that is that first step, which is also on my website on the shop tab of the website. It's the compatibility assessment. And it requires the owner to answer some very specific questions, the successor to do the same set of questions to help them find out if they are each compatible with this journey they're about to take.
Okay, so let's do a scenario. You own the shop. You want to approach me. You see something in me maybe I don't see in me. And you give me this, if you will, 10-story view of your vision of how this could possibly work. You put me through this assessment. And when it's all done, there's some things that just don't look right. And you sit down and say, Carm, I thought, blah, 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 maybe we can fix this, but maybe we can't. The overall, I've got to move in a different direction. Tough decision to have, tough discussion to have. You stand a chance of losing me?
There's always contingencies. There's always risk in everything we do. Attempt to make this extra easy. If I'm the owner and the person listening is potential successor, I don't want to try to sell anybody that they ought to be the owner. What I want to know first, the very first thing I want to know is, do you even want to be an owner? So I offer this as the essential question. I actually recommend this essential question even in the hiring process of everybody you ever talk to that may work for you. The essential question is, what is your ultimate career goal? If you come to work for me, how can I satisfy your ultimate career goal? I need to know that. Ideally, you want them to say something more than, I want a stable environment, I want a respectful owner, I want decent compensation. Those are like the basic things. What you'd like them to say as the ultimate career goal, I want to be a business owner. Someday I want to own my own shop. If they don't offer that, that's your only real follow-up as a new question. Have you ever considered owning your own business? And that would be more likely that follow-up, somebody's already working there. Because you already know this person. Carm, like if I'm an owner, you're my key employee. We've been working together for 3, 5, 10, 15 years. I know you pretty well. Hopefully you've already come to me and said, hey, Bob, I want to own your business someday. But a lot of successors are afraid to ask that question. They think they might be too bold or too personal, too aggressive. So if the successor hasn't approached the owner would want to say, hey, Carm, we've worked together really well for 15 years. What's your ultimate career goal? I don't think I know that.
It's the biggest takeaway from this episode, to move an individual physically and mentally into the successor realm, is to start asking that of their people, or someone that you aspire could be a hell of an owner. But if they don't want, they don't care, they don't believe they're built for this, you got to know up front.
Yeah. And again, the successors never bought a business. They don't know how that's going to go down. They don't have the money. They've never done it before. There's some fear in even having the conversation. There's people like me out there, though. I remember I was only like 28 years old, and I went to the owner of this dealership I was working with, or as the controller. I said, I'd like to talk to you about owning this someday. And unfortunately, he just laughed at me like, you got to be kidding me. You're 28 years old. I don't even want to talk to you about that. Well, a year later, I found another dealership where they said, well, yeah, if you prove yourself, sure, we're going to have that conversation. And I became a minority owner there. No one was going to hold me back. And the owners that are listening to this show, that's how they were. No one's going to hold me back from running my own business. The key is to find that person, identify that person, the owner's replacement person with passion, perseverance, commitment. Everything else can be worked out.
Always get so inspired by listening to you. It's been a while that you've been on. Thank you for coming on. Let's talk about this April 10th through 12th class. Where's it going to be held?
It's going to be in Phoenix, right there at the airport, Hilton. People could just go to my website, contact Bob. I can send them a flyer. We can have a conversation about it. And people can contact me anyway. They said, oh, I heard your show. I felt motivated. You were so passionate about what you do. Can we just talk? And of course, I just had a wonderful conversation yesterday. Somebody that was at a San Diego conference I did for Elite, where the pro service people were there. And this owner remembered me from like 7 years ago. And we had a new conversation yesterday, and we're starting the process.
Right. That's great. Warden, WARDDEN, LLC. The website's perpetualbusiness.co. 6+ episodes on the website. Just type in Bob Ward. You continue to nail the thoughts that are deep inside of so many shop owners. What do I do next? How do I sell it? How do I succeed the business? I don't know if the creativity of many shop owners out there can reach the level you can offer to them. Maybe, Bob, help me think, help me understand, help me figure it out. Go to the website. The website's going to allow you to see the process, see the structures, and I'm an individual who says, take me by the hand, walk me down the aisle. Show me how to do this.
There's also a 30-minute video there that they can purchase. It's $179, 30-minute professionally produced that talks about these things on the show, how businesses are valued. It's a good starter. So I offer introductory calls to anybody. You got to start somewhere. And dating starts with a conversation, right?
And we didn't even get into value metrics at all.
No, we can do another show.
Would you come back and let's do valuations? Really, I think
that's a whole show by itself, and I'd be happy to do it.
Exactly right. And I keep thinking about, oh, Carm, this is great. Show me the money. I keep thinking that there's people in the background saying, yeah, this is really nice, but how much?
And it's very logical, too. It's not complex, but there is a process and a method and a way to get it done.
There's a lot going on out there, from private equity consolidations and buyouts and growths and multi-shop owners. We are in such an interesting stage of our great industry. And thank you for coming on, Bob, to just give us an update as to what's going on. And maybe somebody may just want to come to your class and get immersed and jump into the deep end of the pool on how to successfully sell your business. Thank you, man.
My pleasure, as always.
Thanks for being on board to listen and learn from the premier automotive aftermarket podcast. Until next time.